Hi everyone, I'm Angela Bewick, and this is
Brittany Zeer.
A delight to be sitting and chatting with her today.
Thank you.
We want to talk to Brittany about her amazing new class coming up this Sunday here at the Light Cellar, March 24th from 1 to 3 p.m. And the class is called?
It's called Aligning with Cyclical Wisdom, How to Work with the Changing Seasons and the Wisdom of Your Menstrual Cycle.
I am very excited about this. So, one of the things I love about you, first of all, Brittany has a wonderful business called Blissful Womb Care, and it is for both mothers-to-be, and even this class in particular is for every woman who cycles. And so this would be a great class. Would this be a great class to bring young women?
Absolutely, for sure. Like the things that I'm going to be talking about in this class are things that really I wish I had been taught when I was younger. I don't know that I necessarily would have been open to receive, but looking back on the trajectory of having a cycle since I was 10 years old, and if I had been taught how to work with it instead of spending 16 years on birth control and understanding that my cycle is actually a potent thing to work with on a monthly basis, I feel like my life would have been a lot different. So I do believe that this is really important for young women to attend as well. However, if the teens
sometimes they're a bit awkward.
Yeah, sometimes they don't really want to do it, but moms, you can come and you can also take this wisdom back and teach your girls as well. Yeah.
I think we're taught so much. I have a teenage daughter, and I think we're taught so much about the shame and the inconvenience and the pain around our menstrual cycles that we forget that it's actually one of our most powerful biological processes. And so tell me what you're going to look at, and like, you know, we want to leave something to the imagination. What will the class kind of look like for people?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to be covering a lot of different material in this class. One of the first things that we're going to be talking about is fertility awareness. So the fertility awareness method and how to track the natural biomarkers of your body. To track ovulation either as a natural pregnancy prevention or to support conception, or simply to just begin to connect to your body in this way. So we'll be talking about what those natural biomarkers are, how to begin to track this. We'll talk a little bit about the different hormones that you move through in a cyclical basis as well. And then we'll be diving really a lot more deep into the 4 phases of the menstrual cycle, the energetics associated with that, and how those also correlate with the 4 seasons. So we're just entering the spring season, and also the 4 phases of the moon as well. So those 4 phases are reflected in the seasons, in the moon, and in our body.
I love this.
And so when we dive into this and we can connect to this, especially when understanding the luteal phase and the PMS, which is oftentimes what most women focus on and have the most challenges around, there's actually a lot of really potent wisdom to harness from that and how to work with that. So we'll also be talking about that, how to reframe PMS, work with your inner critic, move through the different phases of your cycle with more grace and compassion so that you can fall in love with your body.
Oh, I love this. Are you going to be, this is definitely something I wish I would have known about, because especially fertility awareness, I just sort of kind of got into this more seriously after the birth of my second kid, and I was like, okay, that's good. But I wasn't interested in taking any birth control, oral contraception, or any of the other sort of pharmaceutical approaches, and I wasn't interested in altering my body, and my husband wasn't interested in altering his body. And I was like, well, I do think males have to play a very important role in fertility awareness as well. We just found a way that worked for us, and it was all about working with the cycle and just being like, okay, these are the times when it's not a good idea for us to have, you know, I was gonna do
to be intimate.
Yes. Or at least not intimate in the ways that could get me pregnant. So this is where we have the triple O method, which Brittany and I are big fans of. What is the triple O method, Brittany?
It's only oral during ovulation, because you can't get pregnant that way. And so this is one of the key things as well that so many people don't understand because we're not taught this too. But you are only fertile for at most 6 days in your cycle.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the only way to confirm ovulation is after it has occurred using these natural biomarkers that you'll learn in this class.
Do you talk about basal body temperature?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. We're going to talk about basal body temperature, about cervical fluid, and how to track those, and then different tracking methods as well. So whether that's charting or using apps, lots of people use apps to track their cycles, but what most people don't know is apps are using predictions to determine when you're going to ovulate and when you're going to get your period based on past data that you yourself have entered. But you are likely to ovulate on a different day every month, cycle as well, right?
Or not ovulate. Like I'm 40, almost 47, and I have just discovered I don't have any perimenopause symptoms, but I just did a long-term, like a 3-month basal body temperature, and we discovered that there was a month in there that I didn't ovulate, even though I felt the symptoms were there and there was like, you know, it was similar, but based on the temperature and based on a few other, I was just very stressed out that month, and I just didn't have it was an anovulatory month, and so that would have been a great month to just get busier. But anyways, those are things that I think we don't often realize. We don't look at how our stress impacts things. Are you going to look at nutrition and herbs at all in the class?
Not a ton. We're going to be talking more about, in terms of like nutrition and herbs, of like around your luteal phase and when you're bleeding, like what are the things to support yourself that are going to be most nourishing for you. A big part of my work with blissful womb care as well is postpartum care, and so when you're bleeding, when you're menstruating, is like a mini postpartum time as well. So this is a really great time and opportunity to integrate the 5 essentials of postpartum care, and also start to just prepare your mind, because we are not taught to rest. We are not taught how to care for ourselves. So there's this common misconception when new mothers have babies as well, that they need to jump back out there and get back out there.
Get that body back.
Exactly. and so practicing cycle awareness, especially around the time when you are preparing for your menstruation to come, and during that time, is really an important time to honor your body and your needs, and that's a lot of preparation for the journey of postpartum as well.
And I love what you provide for women in terms of support and community, because we all know that saying, it takes a village, not just to raise a child, but to be a human. It takes a village. And I think women often, you know, I mean, we all know about the red tent and this sort of idea of women cycling together and being together in that period to support each other. And I think that that's something that I really appreciate about your work, is that you really are so supportive. That the postpartum care is something I absolutely wish I had you around for 17. You were just a baby when I was having babies. So, but I think that's such a wonderful thing. And I also, you just reminded me, I remember listening to someone talk about when we bleed, we are, you know, that women are sort of we're the masters of birth in many ways, but we're also the masters of death, because when we have an unfertilized egg and we shed that, we are shedding life. And so a lot of PMS, what's termed PMS, has to do with this sort of energetic, emotional kind of grieving process of, even if you didn't want to get pregnant or have a baby that month, that egg, you know, that's life. That's part of life leaving, and I think it's really important to honor that. And I love that you are gonna look into that. What can people expect in terms of, like, what you had mentioned to me, your guidebook? Which I'm very excited about.
So everyone who attends will get a copy of my Blissful Cycles guidebook, which will just be a really great reference point for all the different things that we're going to talk about. So an introduction into fertility awareness, what we should have been taught in quote-unquote health class as well. Like this is really the education that I wish I had been given, other than you can get pregnant at any time and it's your responsibility, and the only way to avoid pregnancy is hormonal birth control.
Yeah, or abstinence.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, no, not true. That can be supportive in some situations, but if I had been told at 15 years old about these natural biomarkers in my body and how to work with the energetics of my cycle instead of hating that this was, and that this was such a big burden in my life, I probably wouldn't have spent 16 years on hormonal birth control that I'm still repairing from and recovering from, right? So we'll be talking about that. That's going to be a portion included in the guidebook, as well as how the 4 seasons of your menstrual cycle, your follicular phase, ovulatory phase, luteal phase, and menstrual phase are reflected in the 4 seasons that Mother Earth goes through and that the moon goes through as well. So whether you are currently menstruating or not, there is wisdom that you can get from this class too, because you can look to the wisdom of Mother Nature, the cyclical wisdom that we are going to keep coming back to on the energetics of the season changes and the energetics that the moon flows through. So even women who are pregnant right now and they want some sort of connection to this cyclical energy and wisdom as well, or whether you're menopausal, like follow the phases of the moon as well. This is a way that you can start to integrate and practice cycle awareness, whether you're menstruating or not at this time.
Yeah. And in nutrition, I know that's the same sort of principle, that we can really work with different nutrients, we can work with different herbs, we can work with, all of these sort of things to support our natural kind of hormonal fluctuations no matter what stage in life that we're at.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so sign up. There's still a few spots left.
Yes,
this is why we're sharing this with you, because we want you to get in on this class. This is it's 2 hours. We have an amazing elixir bar here at the shop too, so it's actually a great girls.
It's a great girls afternoon. It's going to be a snowy day on Sunday as well.
Perfect.
So
there is online.
There is online as well. So if you're not able to make it to the store, you can join the class online. And even if you're not able to join live or online, you can still register, receive the recording that you will have for life. You'll still receive my Blissful Cycles guidebook as well. And you'll just get to join this really powerful conversation of women gathering together and talking about all these things. We all go through it. We all have our own stories. And this is honestly one of the most important things on having this conversation.
Brittany's a great facilitator in classes, and it's really important for us to kind of open this up a little bit to talk about with everyone. It's also, we're coming into this phase where we really need this kind of consciousness raising, self-respect, self-love experience, and I think this is a great opportunity for that. So sign up, come to thelightseller.ca. You can call the shop, so our number, just Google us, you'll find the number in there. And you can book online, you can book on the phone, you can register for in-person or online this Sunday, March 24th from 1 to 3 with Miss Brittany Zeer. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.